Okay, so this week I was just ready to trade. Last week I was dealing with some things at home, so I wasn't able to trade. So now I'm just ready to hit the charts. But that feeling quickly went away. Today I took a trade on USD. The bias for me was bullish, as you can see breaker structures to the upside. So I marked out my key levels and I waited to see which levels got hit off market open. Off market open, price tapped into the London session low, which gives me greater confirmation about my bias, as I've been noticing the past couple weeks that once price taps one of these levels, it usually reverses and goes the opposite direction. After this, I marked out a 5-minute high as I was looking for a breaker structure to the upside and I was looking for price to quickly shoot up. But then I noticed a strong push to the downside, which led to a bearish breaker structure, and price also formed a bearish fair value gap. So I placed a limit order on this fair value gap, which price did eventually tap into, so I automatically got entered into the trade. But price quickly reversed and I got stopped out for a fat loss of $443. Looking back on this, I just shouldn't have took this trade. Every pre-market analysis I had told me that the market was bullish and it was going to continue bullish. But for some reason, I seen a fair value gap going bearish, so I entered off a bearish fair value gap and I got stopped out for it. Today I took a trade on USD JPY. The bias for the day was kind of hard for me to tell. There's a strong push to the downside, but then the market kind of just consolidated and looked choppy, so I couldn't really tell. But my bias for the day was bearish. And market open made my bias even more confusing. Price tapped our London session low, indicating that price is going to shoot up, so I should be looking for bias today, which confused me because my bias for the day was bearish, but it might switch to bullish now because price took out London sessions low. But what happened next made me feel a little bit better. Price formed a bullish breaker structure, indicating that price is actually going to shoot up to the upside. So I marked out my breaker block and order block and waited for price to retrace into it, which it eventually did. So now I was just waiting for another bullish breaker structure so I can enter the trade. However, price started to push strongly down, so I was questioning myself. Was my bias actually correct in the beginning and should I be selling? But then I noticed a strong bullish push, so I scaled down to the 1 minute and got a breaker structure to the upside where I entered the trade off of. Shortly after, price hit my take profit 1 for a total profit of $253, and then eventually hit my take profit 2 before I had to go to work, which gave me a profit of $371, ending the day with a total profit of $624. There was high impact news today on EURUSD, so I was just waiting for 8:45 to even take a trade. But my bias for the day was bullish, as you can see breaker structure to the upside, so now I just marked out my London session low and high and waited for market open to see which level it would take out. Market was in consolidation for a while, so I was thinking price was just gonna take out one of the lows or highs and then shoot in the opposite direction. But price just never took out any London session high or low, so I didn't take a trade today. Today I took a trade on GBP JPY, and my bias for the day was really hard to tell due to the fact that there was a lot of failures of breaker structures. The last breaker structure was bearish though, so my bias for the day is bearish. Price formed a bullish breaker structure, so I marked out a breaker block and an order block and waited for price to retrace into it. And once it did, I scaled down to the 1 minute time frame and waited for a bullish breaker structure so I can enter the trade, which I did eventually get, so I entered this trade off the breaker structure. But price started to reverse to the downside and I just didn't like my trade idea overall, so I just closed my position for a small loss of $113. But I didn't let this phase me. I took another trade on USD JPY. I noticed the breaker structure to the downside on the 2 minute time frame, as well as a fair value gap. Off this fair value gap, I entered the trade. After this, price quickly shot towards my take profit. It smashed it for a fat profit of $794. I entered one more trade for the day. I noticed that GBP JPY was pushing down strongly and had recently formed a bearish breaker structure, so I entered the trade off this breaker structure. But I noticed the price started to reverse to the upside, and to be honest, I don't think my trade idea was right. So I just got out of the trade for a small profit of $150. And to be honest, I don't really care what happened to the market after this. I was just glad that I ended in the green. With that, I ended the day with a total profit of $1,009. Today, I had finals, and I was just studying all day, so I didn't take any trades. And that brings an end to this week's trading. This is by far my best trading week, ending with a total profit of $1,077. If you made it this far in the video, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye!